Okay, gun 1, 2, and 3. Traverse towards the middle. You see a gas tiger.
I got
It's coming the other side. It's coming the other side. It's coming.
Light out. Rapid 3.
What you just heard was a weapons squad in one of our operations, the house of a platoon's firepower. Composed primarily of machine gun teams, they allow for suppression of the enemy force and enable assaults using the sheer volume of their fire. However, behind the scenes, just pulling the trigger isn't enough. They are tightly controlled with commands and communication. Though I primarily specialize in ground-to-air integration nowadays, I spent a good chunk of my time in the faction as a machine gunner. Today, I decided to transfer some of my experience onto our newer gunners in a machine gun skills development training. So just to rehearse, right? When we're operating machine guns, we want to not run out of ammo immediately. And also to avoid recoil, because BRM5's recoil is like insane on the machine guns. So you generally do not want to just full auto, right? That's called cyclic. We don't usually do that unless there's a need for it. So there's kind of 3 fire rates that we utilize. There's a rapid fire rate, there's a sustained fire rate, and there's a cyclic fire rate. So cyclic, as I already said, it's just going full auto. Then we have rapid and sustained, which are actually used a little bit more. So sustained, the easiest way that you can kind of coordinate how many bullets you're supposed to fire is to say phrases, right? Because sustained, it's usually around a if I remember correctly, it's a 7-round burst, but you're not going to count 7 rounds. So instead, you can just say die motherfucker. That's what we do, right? So basically you fire until it's while saying die motherfucker, and once that phrase ends is when you stop. So basically, to kind of tell the sustained fire rate, it's your turn to fire, die motherfucker, and that's around 7 to 10 rounds, which you just emptied. Now the rapid fire rate is a little bit faster, and it puts more rounds downrange. A rapid fire rate is it's the same idea, right? Using phrases to kind of help you out. It's around 10 to 15 rounds, and then we say die motherfucker die, right? So it's the same scenario, right? It's your turn to fire, rapid fire rate, die motherfucker die, and that's it, right? Roughly get that? Okay. Now these fire rates, they additionally have sometimes numbers after them, because obviously if I just tell you rapid fire rate and you just shoot burst, it kind of starts sounding more like you're doing cyclic than actually doing whatever. So usually we give a timestamp after the command, right? So for example, I say rapid 3. Now in terms of cyclic, because cyclic is a little bit different from rapid and sustained when it comes to that number afterwards. When we, for example, say cyclic 5, in TFC's SOP, that means go cyclic for 5 seconds. So basically full auto for 5 seconds, just hold down the trigger, count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and then you cease fire. As far as rapid and sustained fire rates, the number afterwards indicates the number of seconds that the break between fire rates takes. So for example, rapid 3 is a very commonly used thing. So what this means is we were given the command rapid 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the fire rate, right? So die motherfucker die, because it's a rapid fire rate. And then I wait 3 seconds, so because it was rapid 3. So I just count out 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And now it's my turn to fire again. So die motherfucker die, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, die motherfucker die, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so on. Sustained works the exact same. However, sustained usually has longer waiting times, because the whole point of sustained is to keep up the volume of fire on the objective and suppress the enemy while still conserving your ammo, which is why it's most often used when you're a lone machine gunner, because you're not going to be able to carry as much. So usually, for example, we say rapid 3, right, for instance, so rapid burst every 3 seconds, but sustained usually has longer times, like for example sustained 5, which means sustained fire rate 5 seconds, sustained fire rate. When it comes to actually integrating machine guns into a squad, usually you are the person that's supposed to be suppressing, right? So in a model scenario where we're, for example, assaulting this objective, you would be waiting here, and you would start the gunfight, basically. Because the pros of using a machine gun as like your starter gun when you start a raid is the fact that it can very easily overwhelm people, kill a lot of people at the same time, and for example, allow the assault to maneuver, let's say from the right to the left into the objective without being fired upon, because everybody is immediately going to try and focus on you, and you're suppressing them, so they can't really peek out and, you know, try and shoot you, right? So basically we do exactly that in raids. What this means for you is that usually you will be left alone here with your ammo bearer and maybe some other people with like a organic like stalker guy or whatever, and you will have to initiate the assault. So when we talk about initiating an assault, we always start an assault with what's known as a Mad Minute. The point of a Mad Minute is to basically suppress and put down as much firepower in a short time span on the objective to allow the assault to maneuver, but mostly also to surprise and overwhelm the enemy, right? Because if all of a sudden 5 machine guns start firing at you, you're like, what the fuck is going on, right? I better go rush, take out those machine guns. You step outside, you get shot by the assault team. So that's kind of the idea behind that. So a Mad Minute in TFC's SOP is 10 seconds of cyclic and then 2 counts of a rapid 3 fire rate. So a Mad Minute always begins with everybody basically going ham on the SBF position for 10 seconds. So you as a machine gunner would basically be going full auto for 10 seconds. Now BRM5 issues with this is the fact that sometimes on longer ranges, a full 10-second burst may not be possible because you will lose control of the gun. And in some placements where, for example, you are heavily limited by terrain, and for example, the squad is assaulting from under you, that can be very dangerous because if you pull your mouse too hard down, you may end up shooting friendlies. So just bear in mind, if it's a very long range objective, like 400 meters and out, it's way better for you to stop when you feel like you're losing control than to keep going, count out those 10 seconds, and possibly shoot a friendly in the face. However, this is a very, very close range objective. Like, this is like 150 meters at best. So you can most definitely hold that 10 seconds without an issue. At least you're supposed to. I'm pretty sure that was tested to see whether you can actually fire with a machine gun. But yeah, we're just gonna see about that. So I'm gonna have you just basically do a Mad Minute on the objective, because that's the most often utilized thing that you will be used for. And then we'll get to like the complicated things in a second. So as I said, a Mad Minute is just 10 seconds of cyclic and then 2 counts of rapid 3. So I'm gonna do it first, just to kind of show you slowly, and then you're gonna do it kind of smoothly without the talk. So, right, you get ready for Mad Minute. TL tells you initiate, right? Initiate the assault. So you just do your 10 seconds of cyclic. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, right? Usually at this point you would have around 50 to 60 rounds left in your magazine. I have 30 because I fired a little bit more, which gives you just enough time to get those 2 counts of rapid 3, sorry, and then have to reload. So we did the cyclic, and right after that you start your rapid 3. Now the thing is, here you wait the 3 seconds first, right? So after cyclic you wait the 3 seconds first. This goes also for transitions between fire rates. You generally wait the number of seconds that's said before you start, right? So it was 10 seconds of cyclic, and now rapid 2 counts of rapid 3. So basically 2 bursts of rapid 3. So I wait 3 seconds. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Die, motherfucker, die. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Die, motherfucker, die. Right. That's the Mad Minute protocol. At this point, you just kind of wait to get another command. If the TL doesn't give you another command or doesn't like assign an NCO to watch over you, then you are basically released. So you just do whatever the hell you want. So mostly you just kind of wait up here. You see an enemy out in the open, you shoot the enemy, but for the most part you just kind of stay still and wait for further instructions after that Mad Minute. And right after we were done with some of the theory on fire rates, as you just saw, we did a quick exercise on a 2-gun Mad Minute. 3, 2, 1, initiate. the second thing I went over with Pincer is talking guns. So what can you guys tell me about talking guns, Mono and Sing?
Talking guns. It's like two fire teams, and then they alternate their bursts.
Okay, yeah, so that's mostly the technical, right? So you have multiple gun teams, and then those gun teams basically alternate. So what this means is that you basically do not fire every other burst that you're supposed to fire. So it's basically sounds like a conversation. That's why it's called talking guns, right? One gun fires, and then second gun fires. First gun fires, second gun fires, and so on and so forth. What this allows us to do is, if you are in a situation where most of the enemies in an objective has already been killed, but you need to keep suppressing, but at the same time, you do not need 4 guns firing at the same time, because we have 4 guns here, 5 if I attach as well. You can keep up the same amount of presence and keep up that suppression while conserving ammunition by talking your guns. So, because we have multiple gunners here, we can actually get to the technical schematics of talking guns, especially communication, which is what I was trying to do with Pincer, but not enough people. Pincer, you can start listening now because this is actually new. So as far as communications goes, when you have multiple guns firing in a talking gun, it is very easy to get lost, right? So basically, your only way to tell when it is your turn is either if you communicate properly or if you just look around to see who's firing. Now the pros of the issue with the second proposal that I just gave of looking around to see who's firing is that you end up looking like a dumbass and you don't look where you're supposed to, which is at the objective, and you don't spot targets. So we do not do that. Instead, we communicate. Now I know some people here do not have mics, which is an issue, but if you do have mics, then it is very easy to communicate who's supposed to fire. So, first of all, when we're in a talking guns and we're in an SBF with multiple gunners, you guys should coordinate between each other to basically give yourself numbers, right? So, for example, we'll start with Sync, right? Sync is on my leftmost side, so Sync is going to be gun 1, then Pincer is gun 2, Lonely will be gun 3, and then Mono will be gun 4. So now you actually have names, right? So, what this allows you to do is when it's your turn to fire and you finish firing, you can just say your name. For example, when it's Sync's turn to fire and he fires, right, blah 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 blah, he can just say gun 1. So basically, after a fire rate, he says gun 1. That's information to all of you guys that gun 1 has now fired, right? If you're also on the SBF with people that you don't really trust with this communication because they may not know or they may be a little bit confused, you can also just say gun 1 fired instead of just gun 1. Takes a little bit more time, but it's a little bit clearer to the people. So I generally recommend just saying gun 1 fired. And then it just goes down the line, right? So Sync would fire gun 1, then Pincer would fire gun 2, and then Lonely would fire gun 3, and then Mono would fire gun 4.
I keep firing.
Can I inject something?
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're probably gonna be doing this with only 2 people. So it's a lot easier if like you shoot and the other guy will shoot, and then it's already your turn to shoot. So you won't have to keep in mind too many things. But in the presence of gun teams, then you need to keep this information in your mind more.
Yeah, exactly. So when you only have just 2 guns, which is usually what is going to happen at most in most operations, then it's a lot easier to coordinate between yourselves. But I still recommend using this communication just in case, because that also lets you practice for the unfortunate event if we ever have to deploy a gun team. So now we're going to get to what I was actually teaching Pincer while you guys joined, which is TRPs. TRPs have a couple of uses. Basically, what a TRP is just a set area of the objective that we set as a reference point. So for example, I will set this building as TRP 1. What this allows me to do is, for example, easier communication on enemies. If there's a QRF that's approaching from the road right there, I don't even know what, I think that's a road, right? I can just say contacts to the right of TRP1 instead of having to say, oh, there's contacts on a dirt road in a tree line, and then everybody looks around because the tree line is everywhere. So way far easier communication, and it's also way easier to navigate your fires once you when you're actually in a gun team, right? Because, for instance, instead of having every single gun sweep around like crazy and look around everywhere, if there's enough gunners, you can distribute TRPs to certain people. So for example, I will say gun 2 will focus on TRP 1, right? And then what that means to Pincer is that his only concern and his only thing that he should be looking at and firing at is this TRP. So for instance, I as the gun team leader will now say, gun 1, you focus on TRP 1. Gun 2, you focus on TRP 2. Gun 3, you focus on TRP 3. Gun 4, you focus on TRP 1. Okay, so basically, what has occurred now is that you guys all have an assigned zone to watch over. This does not take place during the Mad Minute, but it does take place after anything after the Mad Minute. Because Mad Minute, we just want as much volume of fire as possible on the whole area that they're going to be assaulting. But afterwards, when we talk guns, that's where TRPs start becoming very, very important. So we're going to try and practice this, right? So when we're talking guns, you focus directly on your objective and on your TRP, and nothing else interests you, right? So this additionally puts a little bit more communication into it, right? Because earlier we were saying when you fire, right? For example, I'm gun 1. Let's say I'm gun 1. I fire, I say gun 1. But now I'm assigned to TRP 1. So I will now say gun 1 on 1. Sounds stupid, right? But that basically means gun 1 has fired on TRP 1, right? And this is useful for navigation, and then just to let your gun team leader know that you're firing at the right objective, right? Because he can sometimes change fires a little bit. For example, say gun 4 shift fire TRP 2 because there's a little bit more coming to TRP 2 and whatever. Okay, but again, just stick to the TRPs that I gave you a bit ago. So Sync your TRP 1, Pincer your TRP 2, Lonely your TRP 3, and then Mono your TRP 1 again. And we're gonna do talking guns, sustained 5. Let's try sustained 5. I'm gonna have you wait a little bit more to see if somebody doesn't get picky. Okay, call set once you're ready.
Where's the
Set.
Where's the TRP?
What?
Yeah.
Your
Are we showing
TRP,
it?
TRP 3 is the leftmost building. This thing.
Okay.
Initiate, initiate, initiate.
Gun 1 on 1.
Gun 2 on 2.
On 3.
Gun 4 on 1.
Sync back to you.
Oh shit. Gun 1 on 1.
Gun 2 on 2.
Gun 3.
Gun 4 on 1.
Okay, ceasefire. Alright, that was good. Just sync. Right, make sure you're keeping track, right? Once you hear gun 4, Mono is the last gunner, so that's when you start coming in again. Okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say stop. Then I
Oh,
realized
no,
you-
I wasn't gonna stop after one count.
Ah,
Okay. So the only concern I have is that I said sustained 5. It felt like a rapid 3 to me. So just make sure that you guys are counting and reduce the burst a little bit. After all of this theory, we decided to practice some shift fire calls as well as a full assault procedure as a gun team. TRPs for this exercise remained the same, however we did remove one gunner to simulate 3 gun teams for the purposes of realism. Okay.
We should
Alright.
have
Gun teams call set.
Oh,
Set.
gun 2 set.
Gun 1 set.
Lonely, are you guys good?
Nope.
Okay, I'll
Yes,
wait.
sir.
I'll just start now, and then if Firewatch goes on foot, then that's his problem. Okay? Mad Minute,
No.
initiate.
No. Oh, no, you do not stop without me.
Gun down. Gun 1 down. Gun. Oh, sorry. Gun 3 down.
Well, yeah, guys, let's do that.
Gun 2 set. Here.
TRP1,
Listen.
sustained 4, talking guns. Initiate.
Assault team moving.
One on one.
Gun 2.
Gun 3 on 1.
The VPN is not let.
Lonely, by
Touch
the way.
set.
Lonely, by the way, wait until you get shift fire bingo back, by the way.
Okay.
Gun 3 on 1.
Shift fire TRP 2.
Gun team ceasefire, shift fire TRP2, sustained 4, talking guns. Initiate.
Gun 1 and 2.
Gun 2.
Gun 3 on 2.
Shift fire bingo.
Burning.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Go.
Gun 1.
Gun 2 on 2.
Gun 3 on 2.
Gun 1 on 2.
Shift fire TRP 3.
Gun team
2 on 2.
ceasefire, shift fire TRP3, sustained 4, talking guns. Initiate.
Shit.
Gun 1 and 3.
You didn't see that. You didn't hear that.
I did.
Gun 2. Gun 2 down.
Gun 3 on 2. Gun 3 on 3.
Shift fire bingo.
Gun 1 and 3.
Gun 2 is down.
Yes.
Gun 3.
Gun 2 up. Gun 2 up.
Gun 3 on 3.
Gun 1 and 3.
Gun 2.
Gun 3 on 3.
Haven't got lift fire at Yoko.
Not yet, no. Okay, ceasefire for now. After this, we went on to teach the basics of the lift fire procedure. However, unfortunately, my recording of that section seems to have corrupted during editing as I cannot access it anymore. Overall, we went over the basics of working both as an organic gunner and as an organized weapon squad. Though our calls weren't perfect and are a little different from usual SOP, we were able to conduct an assault at our speed of operations without causing the assault team too much of a hassle. Our gunners were able to communicate through any issues they had, and despite some problems with timing, were able to deliver good suppression and coordination. If you want to see more events like this, or perhaps participate in them yourself, feel free to join the faction in the description.